the largest elder official in the police force facility of Northern Ireland, PSNI, says policy is now more than polarized, more than rooted and less than artistic rather than it was 20 years back. Head Constabulary George Hamilton was showing on two breakout moments in the world trial, now nearly too many decades back. First of all, in September 1999, the paper of the Freelance Committee on Police for Northern Ireland, presided over by Lord Patten, that signalled main reforms and the start of the end of the King Ulster Constabulary, RUC. Later, in November of the identical year, down there was the negotiating how put in location a force-sharing execution at Stormont. How was new police near new policy? 20 years after, the policy institutions at Stormont include compressed in a pile or, in a length confrontation how began in 2017, down there is no confidence on their next. The head constabulary, who will depart in June, as well knows how police is once again by the sharpest of spotlights. Sinn Féin MLA Gary Kelly believes the enormous question of heritage is the initial cause for the losing of trust. It's polluting the new start to police. The latter question about disclosing is not an in isolation occurrence, he adds. The newest debate above the disclosing of data will indicate a latency in a quantity of accountable on investigations by the police force ombudsperson, Michael Maguire. These ongoing battles include outdoor old wounds and arguments on trust in police, on trust and the structure of the facility in regulation of Roman Catholic presentation through its ranks. The mockery of the policy grade critical us, comments a elder PSNI official. No by the government in Northern Ireland for more than rather than 2 years. And no trial yet in location to address the questions of the dispute year, in spite creature too many decades for the 1998 Nice Friday World Treaty. 20 years back, we didn't understand the issue the history was departure to constitute, Mr. Hamilton says. Down there was no committee to transactions in the history, no architectural to transactions in the history. The policy negotiating how extended of 1997 via to deceased 1999 was quiet on the each they mind they had allowed the history or they didn't believe at all. How surveillance of Mr. Hamilton conducted us behind too many decades, to the previous produce of militant prisoners by the Nice Friday Treaty, the decommission of arms, or, next institutional arrangement to help in the restoration of the remnant of the disappeared, those killed and covertly buried by the IRA. Those stairs in the policy trial turned on a verdict overview committee, and Freelance World Committee on Decommission, and Freelance Committee for the Position of Victims Remnant and Lord Patten's Freelance Committee on Police. It was not before 2007 how a broad advice began on the history in a paper of a advisory team 2 years after. Latency and postponement include been the features of the heritage discussion with later policy as necessary to get the load of the history off of us, says the PSNI DEP chapter con Stephen Martin. We can't ease by ourselves of it. We include no wish at all to conduct onto it, it is polluting the new start how we include all nested so lot to. Decisions are in the hands of the Northern Ireland office space. Will they begin in law to carry out the heritage pattern how founded of policy talks in 2014, consisting a new historic investigations block, HU, and an freelance committee on data search, ICIR? A historic investigations block would include a clientele of on 1,700 twists-related deaths and aim to full its job in 5 years, time and freelance committee on data search would just see for data if requested to do so by families. Following else latter advice, down there is no sign as yet on the following stairs, but quite a proposal how several future debate or advice may be necessary. We requirement to identification wherever the policy blocking is, says Gary Kelly. It is in the UK by the government, who include not manufactured the law to set the up. We don't he requirement else advice. It's else kiosk. All has been consulted. Behind in 1999, while Lord Patten set out his committee's proposals for the new start for police, he identified a considerable problem. We trust how it is probable to discover a police decision to the police issue, but just if you get the policy out of police. How is a key portion of the paper, the depoliticization of police. In 2019, the remnant of problem, policy and police are yet in a tugboat of war. Mr. Hamilton has reasoned, through his possession, how the history must be undertaken out of police. In his society, Gary Kelly sees the harm how is creature made in regulation of trust in the PSNI. The type is surely solidifying versus the police flesh and human beings are loser belief at a top bet, he told. The trust during the victims and survivors society is at zero. We include a position wherever the head constabulary by himself has told he wants the undertaken off of the PSNI. The heritage structures requirement set upwards. The new start is poisonous by the continuous wind in the dispute time or, in the fleeing arguments, presence police can be done see and sense love old police. Mr. Hamilton believes how advance has been nice in the areas dealt in by the patent paper yet, in some areas not aimed in how paper, down there has been a absence of advance and in several respects police has been leftward in a worst stance. He is thought and speaking on the history and particularly the lack of an option attitude. The radioactive fallout is a heritage warfare, not a medicinal or conciliation trial. Too frequently, the history becomes the this. So in a scenery of so lot commission, why has down there not been one particular to heritage? It was a guideline in the 2009 paper of the advisory team company chaired by Metropolitan Robin Eames and Dennis Bradley. It urged to rate up heritage investigation institutional arrangement and transactions in eminent cases. Yet, if the attention now is fair on who will substitute Mr. Hamilton as head constabulary this summer, later it will miss the spot. The issue of heritage, the dissenter republic risk now in its tertiary 10 years and how to depoliticize police are unsolved issues. If they stay so, later the arguments of new police against old police will go on.